Hi, welcome back. It's Laura at Hyperstamper. I really love this antique book that I've now made into an antique junk journal. This is a beautiful book called Daisy. The spine is here. It's still intact with the rest of the book. And this is the original cover plate here, this beautiful circular image of this gorgeous young lady. This is her blue dress and this exquisite embossed circular framing around it, and these lines, scored lines, and the black framing. It is really different and beautiful. And this was actually under a dust jacket, which is crazy because usually when there's a dust jacket, there's no design underneath. So this was really beautiful. And this book is from about 1920. It was gifted for Christmas in 1925. And so what I did is I took it and I took out the pages because the interior spine was damaged, and I refilled it with every single page is a different piece of antique or vintage ephemera. No commercial products or digitals in here. Every little pocket and tuck and insert and little surprise inside is all authentic. So I'm going to take on a little historical tour of this book so you can make friends with every page. I'll start off with saying that all of these beads here as well that I've threaded match the cover here and are vintage as well. I've just got my antique quill here and my antique inkwell that was mudlarked from an old Bovril bottle, which is a whole other story in itself. And let me take you on a little journey. So this is the original first page, and I just made it so it could open up and you could journal all throughout here. When you see a red circle like this in an old book, it just means that the library has marked it as discarded. And that's what this one is. And it comes out of circulation. And this was gifted from Grandma to Leon. That's a neat. Leona? That's cool. If it's Leon, that's a really cool name. Okay, so this is an original handwritten thesis page from the early 1900s. And look at the teeny tiny writing here, cursive writing. Lots of note taking on that page. It's very cool. And this is the last of my authentic 1920s silk or satin buttons. Satin, I believe. Isn't that beautiful on their original button card? You can just have all kinds of fun with that. And then I made this pocket out of a mathematics book from the 1800s, and this is another more piece of that antique paper that I had to cut off to make it fit. And in this pocket is a little vintage, you've seen this before if you follow me, this little deck of vintage kittens. Aren't they pretty? And that is a vintage Trees of America book page. And look at this one. This is out of a 1940s newspaper ad. Movie star, free. Design smart looking clothes. It cracks me up. Anyways, I turned that into a journaling card. And then on the other side here, I've got a 1960s probe card and a payday card. So those are really fun too. You can upcycle those and collage them and have all kinds of fun with those. And this is from 1949. Look at this beauty here in her bathing suit on the boat at the dock. Isn't that fun? And look at the wonderful edge here, the scalloped edge looks torn, and then they've got the frame. So you can almost tell the decade it was printed in because of how the layout is, how the design of the print is. There's another shorthand page from the 1940s. Another botanical vintage page. That is from 1927. I pulled that from a catalog. I love that. Look at that frock. That's what they used to call that type of dress. Comes down below the hip was a frock. And more botanicals. Oh, just lovely. I stamped a butterfly up here. This is just a really fun cluster with lots of texture. Chantilly lace from a vintage dress. And this is from a vintage Birds of America book. And there's just a little piece of a 1940s children's book. And I love this from the 1940s. She is making a cake with all of the top end appliances. Look at that. That is fabulous. Look at the old milk bottle. How fun. The old juicer. Just love it. Okay, so this here is a postcard, and this is from the Royal Infantry Armory here in Canada. And so I put it here because this came from a British book from 1933, and it was Mistress of the Air. So we've got the lady pilot here, and then the armories there. I just thought it was really cool matching. And this is another vintage, over 50 years old page from Wildflowers of America. That's a very pretty one. And another postcard here. This is Trent Bridge in Nottingham, England. Hi, sorry, Lacey's got her cone on and she wants to say hello. Yeah, and that is actually a vintage postcard. And then back here, I have this really cool piece here from a gardening book. Look at that. Look at these images. Look at the dresses she's wearing in here. How great. Just fun. You can have lots of fun with that. And then this piece here, see, let me give you a little close-up on there. That is a frame from an 1890s photo album. It looks like it was just printed off today because the colors are so vivid. You can see the gold gilt around it was an oval frame, but it was absolutely destroyed when I got it. But I could not throw away these beautiful images here, so I put it here. This is from a 1920s book about Quebec, and that's a beautiful monument there. And here, another one. This is from the 1938 Snow White painting book, and some little child has pencil crayoned this. We call them pencil crayons. I think in America they call them colored pencils. I just found that out yesterday from my American niece. This is a 1950s bingo card. That is also really cool. And this is a great, the Prince of Wales Hotel. Isn't that funny? In London. I love it. And then we've got some beautiful old stamps down here still on their envelope. And here is another early 1900s Beatrix Potter plate. Look at the bunny hiding in the watering can here while the gardener is pulling his pots. I just love it. I think that's really cool. 1950s Pearl Shop receipt. And then here is a 1959 envelope with a U.S. postage stamp on it from Carbondale, Illinois. And this isn't what was originally in there. I just tucked it in because it's an old vintage recipe and advertising. My wife offers you this recipe, spaghetti sauce peasant style. And I actually took a picture of that before I put it in here because I want to try it. I love spaghetti sauce. So over here, just a really great place to journal because it was blank on one side. And that is from an antique book as well. And a really great cluster down here. 1938 Flinch card, number 12. I can switch out the number upon purchase. You can leave me a note. And this is a vintage coupon for 10 whole cents at Melmar Foods. And this is one of the last arborite samples I have. It's the last colored one. The rest are all wood, but this is pink mistwood. Isn't that stunning? And on the other side, canary mistwood. So these were salesman samples. They would have taken these and you would have picked that out, but that is the original. So we still call this arborite, but it's actually the company that was called arborite. Sort of like we call all brands of Kleenex, but there's only one kind of Kleenex. I hope that made sense. It really made sense in my head. Some really cool plates here. Beautiful Mount Vesuvius, Naples. More wonderful things to come here in this Laura Wheeler transfer. And look at this one. I was thinking of putting it in my next tea journal, but I did find one similar. So we've got the Laura Wheeler name up here, and then you would iron this on and then cross stitch on it. So that would go on your tea towels, most likely, or pot holders, all kinds of things. But ladies do all of their own embroidery for their kitchenware. A lost art, of course. That is from the 1850s, Hogarth plate, and another 1940s children's book page. And this is just a really cool 1950s recipe book color page. I like looking at it and finding things like the salt and pepper shakers, how cool they are, the handle on there, and the way the glasses look, and the plastic fruit. I just think it's all wonderful. I really think there's so much fun, these old color recipe pages. Now this I got out of a Theater World magazine, and I pulled it because I liked this. A play called The Most Happy Fella, and of course we all know Cat on a Hot Tin Roof and My Fair Lady. Is that neat? Nito Pepito, as we say. And this is another advertisement, and your choice of 3 records. We've got Sinatra, we've got Benny Goodman. It's just really fun to look at those. And this is from a very old, 100-year-old paint book called, what was it? Billy the Goat. Billy Whiskers. Yeah, Billy Whiskers at the fair. Really fun. Look at this old radio. I love it. That's from the 40s as well. And I fussy cut this out of a children's book about the fox and the rabbit. And more children's book pages here. Hogarth, really pretty piece of doily there. I just attached that to the page to give it some strength. Another gardening page, and this is a beautiful magazine, vintage as well. I believe it's 1957, but look at these great art pieces that you can make with flowers. I just think that is so fun. Yeah, sorry, I'm wrong. This is 50 years old, not from the 50s, 50 years old, exactly, actually. And next one is from 1909, and this is a cursive writing exercise book. And this is another one of those ones, if you look at it from far away, it looks like a pattern, but it's actually a cursive writing exercise. And I think that's really cool. Look at the W's. They make a basket weave. It's just so fun. Oh, I like it. And this is, of course, from this book. It was the first title page. Daisy. Look at the natural foxing on there. I did not tea stain that. That's how I found it, which makes me just so happy. Like finding gold when you're making junk journals. More handwritten pages. That is a wonderful page out of a 1920s children's book, and the colors are spectacular. And this is from an early 1900s page there. And this is from 1926, so 99 years old. Why gamble in your garden? Never do that. And then a story about two swimmers here. Very, very historic and fun. And then there is a hand-typed research page there, and you can journal on the back of that as well. And read all about the history it's from a newspaper article, actually. Kangaroos down here. Got another fun cluster here. And then this came from that 1951 diary that a mom used, and she kept track of the baby's weight and feedings, which I think is really cool because we still do that. And that is the last page of the original book, The End. And I hope you love it as much as I loved making it. This is going in my Etsy shop now, hyperstamper.etsy.com. Come back soon. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye for now.